is James Mosqueda. I'm a local here in Sacramento.
Jared Konopitski. I am actually from Sacramento, born and raised.
I am Glob CDS, GLOB_CDS. I only say that because I moved here when I was about like 9, but stayed here ever since, so it's just kind of felt like more like home than I could call, where I was born.
Mike Santori, Dr. Mike, MYK, a native of Southern California. I've been in the Sacramento region about 22 years now.
Hi, I'm Joe Meistas. I'm a local artist. I grew up in Citrus Heights, so been in Sacramento County my whole life, live in Midtown now.
J.M. Knudsen. I'm not from Sacramento, but I grew up here. Okay. I'm from Seattle originally, but I've been here since like '96, so I grew up here.
My name is Sarah Kraft, spelled S-A-R-A-H. I'm not from Sacramento. I actually just moved here from Washington, D.C.
John Blair.
10 Blair.
Finnegan Mark Blair. Today is the second of 9 wall art competitions that we are having at the Sacramento News and Review. We are featuring 7 artists today. Each of them will have 10 hours to complete their mural. They have the theme of originality for this event. Each of them will be competing for a full page in the Sacramento News and Review. Should be the November issue. And we give top prize for first place, and then for second place and third place we do prints of their pieces for them to sell.
I started off back and forth from the Bay Area, making our transition as families were relocating back and forth from Sacramento to the Bay Area. So I got the best of both worlds to be able to incorporate my artistry, participated in multi-mediums of different art, just looking for a way to express myself, and just evolved into, graffiti and different mediums in graffiti writing. I always loved the expression of it.
I got involved with the art scene. I would say, man, this is gonna date me. Maybe 15 years ago. I would say 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, somewhere around there. I got into the arts originally as I got a gallery show, surprisingly enough. In fact, it was in this very building that I'm sitting in right now. I'm in the Sacramento News and Review building right now, but it was not the Sacramento News and Review building way back then. It was this little cafe, and my friend happened to know the owner, and he was looking for some art on the wall. So they said, hey, I know you make some cool drawings in your sketchbooks. You want to make some stuff for the show? And so I did, and ever since then, it kept going, really. So there used to be a gallery actually across the street called Horse Cow Gallery, and I got to meet some of them, and they came to the show, and that just kicked it off. So
I've been involved in the Sacramento art scene for about 5 or 6 years now. The first mural I really got to do was Yummy Yogurt on J Street, across the street from the old spaghetti factory before it became the Domino's. I've done murals in the Roseville Galleria, some local places in South Sac, Del Paso Heights Elementary School. So I've definitely reached out around the area, but these are like I'd say the contests I've been within the last 2 years.
I guess kind of dabbled for in the last 10 years or so, not much as far as professional, so kind of doing these big murals is kind of like stepping out into being a little bit seen now, so.
Well, I had like my first art show. I did street art for like a little bit, like a year, and then I had pretty much just 5 years I've been doing art. I've been doing art like all the time, kind of. My first art show was in 2015, and then I just took off from there. It was at Old Soul Coffee, in the alley. I live right around the neighborhood, so they saw my street art and they asked me if I wanted to do an art show there, and then the rest is history, pretty much.
I found out about the Graffiti for Good competition. Actually, I know John Blair, who's the organizer for Graffiti for Good and this competition specifically. I did a live painting situation for, I believe it was called Walk the Boulevard event a few years back. And then he invited me to do a building that was part of Wide Open Walls in 2018. And then from there, just really got to know him. And he says, hey, we're doing this competition. Looking for artists. Are you interested? And of course, I'm always interested in that kind of stuff.
I found out about Graffiti for Good from a friend in DC who works for this organization called Words, Beats, and Life. And they do some similar stuff over there, and he recommended that I reach out to you guys. And then it just so happened that you were having a wall art competition, so I applied.
Like I said, I'm a local artist, and I used to have a tattoo shop down the street, which I no longer operate. And so a lot of the business owners and personalities here in the community are beginning through art to getting closer and acquainted. And I came to ask some questions because I seen them doing some beautiful pieces, and I asked how I could participate, and I said, hey, I'm available, let me know. And they kind of gave me the schedule and onboarded me what I needed to do to come in.
Today I heard about it on social media. It was on Instagram, and Never Bored. They sent out a request, and I just filled it out. And I've worked with John from Never Bored on a couple of other events, so I just kept in that loop. And I would just say social media. I heard about it.
The guy that runs it just contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be involved.
Luckily, I'm friends with some of the collaborators and people around town, and kind of like the artist community around town is pretty tight. So if you kind of are in it, you're kind of in it. So it's, networking, knowing artists.
I heard about this contest through John Blair, actually. He was a major part in getting me into Wide Open Walls back in 2018. And I was very fortunate to even have the chance to meet him. And he reached out to me personally, and I greatly appreciated the opportunity. So by all means, any open wall that I can get, I'm more than happy to paint. So thankfully, John reached out to me, and I was very happy to participate.
Originally, I wasn't so sure if it was going to go beyond my first art show. So I was making just colored pencils, prints of these pencils for my sketchbook, that kind of thing. As I started connecting with other artists, I got the bravery to kind of make larger paintings and so on and so forth.
I did the tattoo style type Scully that's on Diaz Tax Brothers business here on Del Paso Boulevard, right down the street, which is more of it's a graffiti style type art, but has a tattoo style type concept to it. So that was really nice to do too as well. So.
I haven't done any murals here yet. I did do one in Davis for a community festival, but none in the city yet.
Yeah, my previous art that I've done for Wide Open Walls 2018 is actually behind King Kong Brewing. So it's just right around the corner on Del Paso. And so I have the whole alleyway and then also the back of his patio. So the big gorilla and the 3 lions. So I was actually like the biggest piece I was given, and it was honestly a lot of fun. So to do that again in the near future, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I got involved in the art scene through the Washington Neighborhood Center, and they had an open wall so you could go and do some graffiti there. My style's mostly graffiti. And then from there I did some more. I branched out to different arts that they have in Sacramento, different art events, and I've just been going to each event, making circles, and it's amazing. I have some other murals in the Sacramento region. I did another event. It was the mural in Sacramento.
Wide Open Walls.
Yeah, it was a Wide Open Walls event. I'm trying to think of the name that we did. It was a big Humanity, the Humanity piece. A bunch of different artists together in the alley. It said Humanity, and each letter had its own form of depicting what humanity is to you. So I did that one. That was really fun. I believe that mural's still up. Yeah, it was a really big one, and that was done in collaboration with the Sacramento Artners.
I did a couple more shows in Sacramento, like during that year, and in 2016 I showed in San Francisco in a gallery, and then I just kept doing my thing. Street art. I mean, the street art, public art, that was from the very beginning, and that's never stopping. I'm always going to do that. So when people started to take notice of my art, they just wanted to see it in galleries and in murals. So I just kept doing it. Yeah, I have 60. Well, this is 60. This is like 61 right here. Yeah, so I have like 40 in Sacramento. I've done like 40. Some of them, like one building got demolished. That had a mural on it, and then some of them are inside of businesses. That's the mural. Actually, it was a Virgin Mary, and then the Mona Lisa are kind of the same, because that kind of like gave the public an idea of what I could do. And then I painted Jimi Hendrix's Red House in San Francisco on Haight-Ashbury, and they used the Virgin Mary to say he could do it because he knows how to paint. So, but the Mona Lisa is at the Trade, where I do it's like a hub for artists in Sacramento, and like I'm the curator for the art gallery there, and I curate art shows for local artists. So I kind of just always there. The owners of the Trade. This is really funny, but like I painted the Mona Lisa during the first Wide Open Walls because I didn't agree with some things, so I didn't want to be involved with that. So I decided to just go straight to my neighbor, create this mural, and then literally a month later I got asked to do a gallery show in Portugal. Right after I did the Mona Lisa, after I did the Jimi Hendrix, it was like a matter of like 2 months. Like I painted the Red House, people heard about me in San Francisco, and they were like, hey, you want to do an art show in Portugal? They flew me out there, but I couldn't even get out there without the money that I got from the Mona Lisa. And then the Mona Lisa is just like kind of represents me, because like her face is loading, and we're always evolving. So that's the one that like represents me, and it represents like the most expensive painting in the world is the Mona Lisa. I'm gonna strive to get to that. Anyway, I gotta deliver this art, even if I'm out at 3 o'clock in the morning, chaining something up to a pole to get a message out, or I'm doing a mural that has a powerful message. I just by any means, you know what I mean? This art has to be made.
Yeah, I've done a few murals around the Sacramento region. I did Wide Open Walls last year, so just with Neverboard Design across the way, who is also a big partner with Graffiti for Good and a sponsor of it. So I did a mural with them last year, just right on the side next to the light rail station on Del Paso and Arden. So that was probably the biggest one I've done. But before that, I participated in Chalk It Up for several years. So that's a chalk festival around Sacramento. And just kind of, I mean, basically, if somebody wants me to do something, I'll do it.
The first installment's winner was Tony Adam, and he did a caveman that was punching through the wall. The theme was strength in adversity, and it was very fitting for what it was, and it was nice. It was publicly voted on. He won by a small margin, but a margin nonetheless, and he won it. We did a full page for him in Sac News and Review. He goes by Oaksramento_35. You can look him up on Instagram. We're looking for places that would be willing to put him to work. So whether you have a small business or you have a store, something that you could use a nice, big, beautiful mural, look him up and see what he can do to help you out. For every one of these, we want to be able to give a space for not only artists to create, but we want to give them a platform to be able to promote themselves and to have a space to do that in. So we've been dealing with, Sacramento News and Review has been a great place for us so far to be able to feature the artists, to allow them to not only show their skills on the building, but then show who they are through the magazine.
We ask artists in the community to sign up. We put out an Instagram post and say we're looking for people for graffitiforgood.org. You fill out a form and that's how you become a contestant. Some of it's word of mouth, sometimes other artists tell other artists, sometimes the artists come up to us and recommend people. It's been very grassroots.
We want this to be some of the top artists in the area, and we do vet the artists that are here. We really look for an artist that is wanting to push their career. We want them to be hungry to get work out there, promote themselves, and to come and do that. So although we do have some people that will come and have they do it on the weekend. We really want to promote the people who want to be promoted and want to have a career in art and graffiti, and so that's who that's how we vet, is just going, okay, are they trying? Do they do multiple pieces? Do they are they pushing their artwork, either online or trying to create a career for themselves? And we want to be able to help that along by giving them that extra competition tick on their resume if they win. That's really it's being an artist right now is hard enough by just putting your artwork out there, because art is subjective. So it's hard to gauge, if you're a good artist or you're a bad artist. I've seen some bad artists with a lot of Instagram posts and Instagram likes, but they have just, they have either overdone, overused concepts, and I've seen some people that just have raw talent and are really pushing themselves, but either the algorithms or they just don't have the followers that they should be having, and so we're really trying to help people who really want to push their career.
as a struggling artist myself, I saw the same thing in other artists. It's hard to get yourself platformed. It's hard to get people to take you seriously, and you have to have, and in the communities right now, a lot of organizations want to see that you have a lot on your transcripts and that you've been doing a lot of art, and sometimes those opportunities aren't open to artists who are emerging or trying to restart their careers, or maybe they've had a very successful career but they haven't had an opportunity to get any publicity, and that sometimes can hurt them from getting more work. And if that's what you want to do for a living, there's a very thin line there in which it's hard to just go, hey, trust me, this is what I do, and then also having like stuff that backs it up, says, well, I won this competition, or I participated with this organization, or I did this festival. That is helps to solidify the relationship that you're trying to have with somebody when you're trying to work as an artist.
And I think the fact that we have a lot of talented artists here in Sacramento that just haven't been, there hasn't been things that are like this for them to be able to participate here. So we do have a lot of really talented people, and they just, there's having things like this really showcases that. And I don't think people that realize what's actually here, that live in Sacramento, realize that it runs really deep with a lot of talent that's here. So we wanted to be able to help promote that and show that we're both graph heads and really love the art in itself. So
I think the art community is awesome, but this is the thing. They need to believe that they are great. That's why I push it. I have so many people that have crossed my path that they were like dabbling, and now they're like full-fledged, like getting it cracking. You know what I mean? And it's like, we have to show each other, like, look, like, we're good. Like, we don't even need to go nowhere to get no artists to come into our city and paint. We got everything right here. But people are in their room. There's a Picasso in a room right now that's like, they don't think they're great, but they are. But it's just like, let's welcome these other artists. Let's like help them get more murals. Let's help them get in the public. Let's help them get more shows. Let's open up a museum in Sacramento for local art. That's my real goal. That's gonna happen too. I'm gonna get some investors for that.
Well, I think that the more the artists are presented and the exposure that they're getting around different people and different sponsors, the opportunities are endless, for the artists to really excel, especially here in Sacramento. We're developing, I feel the community is developing a really strong love and passion to admire their expressions in art.
But the art scene as a whole seems to have evolved. It comes in waves, goes up, go down, as folks move out of town, come into town, new artists emerge just from hitting the scene. It's a wild ride. It's a constant evolving change, and I enjoy that, and I love it, and I get inspiration from that, and it's a blast. Actually, I think the art scene is very vibrant here in Sacramento, actually, and it always has been. It's just a matter of where you find it.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't consider myself even really a big part of it yet. It's just that I'm kind of like around it, and being around it, I mean, just going to local art events, supporting local artists, and going to galleries, and coming to events like this, and just seeing people paint and do art and stuff, and then you just say hi and kind of goes from there.
I think the biggest difference I found between the Sac art scene and the DC art scene is that it seems easier as an emerging artist to break in here. DC's like very established and kind of cliquey, and I haven't found that here, which has been really nice.
The art scene in Sacramento is, I'd say, blown up quite a bit, because even when I moved here, like, a lot of the artwork was, obviously like on walls. There was art shows. I remember Second Saturday, and I feel like it went from Second Saturday to like art shows to like the walls themselves. So like art's really kind of like blown from the inside out, and I think with the environment that brought in, it just felt more creative and more people open to the idea of like art shows and venues for art shows and all that.
Right now, the art scene in Sacramento is really blowing up, and I find it that it's a lot more accepted, and that's a great thing for us artists. They're really embracing all the different styles of art, and in Southern California is very closed off, so I'm really excited about that right now.
My favorite artist is Picasso, and well, Dali and Picasso are my favorite, and then Jean-Michel Basquiat. So those three are like the main ones. So I find myself very similar to Basquiat because I started off in street putting messages up. And, you know, it's not really legal, but things need to be said. And I found a way to respect the businesses, respect the city, but still get the messages up. That's why I started chaining things up, because things like "You Are Great" need to be seen by people, or "Never Give Up." Exactly. So you're wearing the bracelet. So that is in like 5 countries right now, spreading everywhere. So that message is the most important one because it's self-empowering. So, and that's why on the trade I put it there, and because I want to see it. Like, it's just like people try to tell you, you got to do this to be great, you got to do this to be great, you got to do that. Like, you're already great right now. Like, you don't need to like do anything. Like, just you have your own passion, you strive for it, but you're great in your existence, and you're constantly learning. So who is anyone else to say that you're not? You know what I'm saying? So I just try to push that message first and foremost among everything.
The inspiration I get is definitely from within the city. I owe a huge part of like my creative style to my creative like group that I became part of, the CDS group, which is a Creative Dead Society. But my buddy Tarilla was the one who kind of helped me explore colors and creatures and kind of let your imagination flow, And so I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity had I not lived here. And I think a lot of the artists that I've met around here have just been nothing but supportive and like suggesting this and that. Like it feels so open, but at the same time you can still have an opportunity to like still come back and work on what you want to do. And I think that unique style really helps you stand out, especially amongst a community of artists. So it feels definitely like everybody's trying to help you out.
There are a couple artists that really inspire me. First and foremost, Jose Di Gregorio. Like he's like, I really like him because not only is he an awesome guy, not only is he like, he really like went to other countries and like educated himself in art, but he also takes care of his kids. He takes them to other countries to do for shows. Like, he's making it happen. Like, any excuse that you think it would be one, like, he just overcomes them. So he creates art at a high level. I respect the man. Also Arturo Romero, you see him out here. That's like my bro. We went to like Barcelona. We painted in Barcelona at the other. He's like relentless, creating like all the time. People that create all the time, I'm with them, because we're creating the future. So I need to be around people, and like look to people that are constantly making art, constantly like challenging, art, putting their ideas out, because it's inspiring to see it. You know what I mean? Like we're all keeping up with the same, the same train. We're on the same train, like going to the same goal, which is to like make a difference, create things, inspire other people, So I believe it for real, and it has nothing to do with anybody else. Like, I'm making this mural. This is my inner voice just speaking to all you guys. And it's going to be received probably it's the original drawing of this mural I'm doing was really received well. But like, it's the message, "You are great," is the what got me here now. Because I just looked at it and I'm like, dude, you are great. And yes, I just continue to practice my craft, continue to work my network. Like, I'm doing a mural on 58 Degrees and Holding on their roll down. That's all just word of mouth. Like, no one got that from me. You know what I mean? It's like, if I want to bring art, like, I just go straight to the people. And that's why a lot of people like my art, because they don't see me. I didn't get no handout. You know what I mean? I worked hard to get to where I'm at, and my art, I feel, is at a high level because I practice it all the damn time. That's pretty much just the bottom line. It's like Hendrix, right? He was so good at guitar because that shit never left his hand. Like, every single day I'm making art. You know what I mean? And it's like this. It's like in this day and age, it's like you either want to be comfortable or you want change, right? So those people that want to be comfortable, go home and be comfortable while we're out here making the changes for the future. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not comfortable. Like, I want to be constantly creating art, constantly bringing ideas to people, you know? So we'll be out here, like us, we're all part of it. Like him, you, me, like we're out here creating the future right now. People are at home, they're comfortable right now. Just let it roll over, you know what I mean? No, fuck that. Like we need to be on it. We need to be doing stuff like this, graffiti for good. Like messages need to be seen. Like we need to take advantage of technology. You know what I mean? Do things, because nothing's really original, right? We all get inspiration from something. Like I get inspiration from so many things, and I do my own magic and mix it up to make it something that's never been seen before.
I feel like graffiti has kind of evolved in a big way. I think it's always been kind of a form of protest or just a way of getting something said out there for other people to see. But I think it's kind of turning more into a little bit more of an appreciated art form, where it's not just words saying something that you can't relate to. A lot of times it's images and a lot of more just made like art, I guess. You know, more so than tagging, which is still, you know, a big part of graffiti, of course.
Graffiti's from New York, and it just came over to the West Coast, and instead of trains over here, we did more buses and walls. We didn't have the train system in the West Coast that much, so. Street art, I would say, is more like a pop culture art. A lot of fine artists are using spray cans as a medium, but it does not make it graffiti because it's done with the spray can. So there's a lot of fine art murals going on, you know, landscapes, and which is not graffiti as far as the caricatures, the graffiti letters, you know, the original subway style art of graffiti. So I believe street art is way more accepted than graffiti. Graffiti has still the breaking the law, rebel, you know, attached to it, where street art is more artistic and more gallery, so it's accepted more than graffiti.
Well, I'm an artist, period. And however I gotta say that message, however I gotta deliver it, either it's on the street or on a canvas in a gallery, I think it's all art to me. It's a human expression, just coming out of everyone's mind. Street art, graffiti, it's the same. I mean, there's a little difference with like gallery showings, but it's all art, you know? So it's just how you want to relay your message to the world.
Well, the piece that I'm working on today is, well, the concept was originality, and normally I'm used to doing like really rough and gritty pieces, because you would look at me, you would think that I would have like not a darker medium to me, but a grittier concept. And I did a love and peace mural today to share and spread hope and a little positivity. And so I used a bunch of colors, pinks, magentas, baby blues, a lot of lighter colors that I wasn't used to using to incorporate in this piece.
My art aesthetic has been described a variety of different ways, but it's definitely colorful. It's been called sugar rush infused art because I use very bright neon colors in an illustrative sense, but it has a childlike whimsy to it, if I were to use the word whimsy. Today's mural was inspired by, the theme was originality, which I didn't know the theme until 8 o'clock this morning. So whenever I think originality, I think of creativity, and I think of all the elements to creativity, and when I think of creativity, I, for some reason, always think about plants and it blossoming from what is just a planted seed of an idea can blossom into all kinds of directions and all kinds of beauty. And so that's what I put into that's for some reason speaks to me in originality, because it comes from just an idea out of unique to your own. You don't know where this idea comes from, but it comes from, and then inspiration grows from there. So I created a weird little image that has a lot to do with flowers and plants and flora, and just made it uniquely my own too. So if that makes any sense, if the viewer wants to follow that tangent of thought.
The aesthetic that I go for is always positivity, but through the colors that I choose. A lot of the early illustrations that I did were kind of, it always involved the cat in some way, but the bright vivid colors always kind of make up for what's going on in the scene, and I think it's the smiles and the bright colors that I really want the emphasis to be on. And I think, I definitely get a lot of positive feedback from, the happy smiles and whatnot. And as long as I can get that, then I know that what I've done is like communicating well. I definitely go for the passionate, positivity. The mural I'm creating today is definitely going to be, well, it's actually already one of the more like satisfying pieces I've done, because I like doing gems now because of this. It was like the first time I really like threw one down with spray paint. I normally like paint on canvases type thing, so to be able to translate that, on large scale was already like a lot of fun. So I've definitely looked for more fun in this piece because that's all I'm having right now.
Graffiti, I wouldn't say is my main form of art, but I like just kind of doing whatever. I like bold colors, lots of color. So mostly I work with, ink and acrylic, but, working bigger is kind of better sometimes. So it's kind of fun to just put your creativity out there. As far as like art in my career, I was working in kitchens and I was a cook and a chef for a long time. This year, not so much, just haven't been unemployed. But yeah, I was able to incorporate art, I think, into presentation with plating and stuff like that. So that was always kind of fun, just kind of having fun with that. Especially a lot of the restaurants I worked at let you kind of have a little bit more free reign in the kitchen. It wasn't as structured, like you didn't have to make everything look the same every time. You could just be a little bit creative with it. So I think cooking is definitely a way to be creative as well.
Yeah, so my main career right now is being a youth educator. So I teach art classes at youth centers, both here and virtually in DC. And then in my own personal practice, I do some sculpture and leather work. So it's a part of every part of my life, but I do kind of a lot of different little things.
The competition theme was originality today, so I try to do some original letters, original colors that I usually use because I like using bright poppy colors, so that's more original of what I do in my style. And then I've done a throwback character, but in a different color, so it made it original to me. It's graffiti, and there's a big difference between graffiti and street art, and mine is more graffiti, and it's kind of mixing in with the street art, but it's graffiti. Since the early 80s I started doing it, and I kind of kept the tradition of graffiti and not doing like street art or realism, which is taken off right now. I try to keep it to the core graffiti and to keep that style going. And people smile and like it, I believe.
Okay, so I mean, it's like, what is it? It's like originality. I didn't even know about it was originality until I was doing it, but it's very original. So what I did was I had this drawing, and it was of the chief of the Simpsons police, in the classroom, writing Black Lives Matter on the board. Like Bart did sentences, so the chief of police is writing Black Lives Matter on the board. Not Bart doing like, I will not do this. Black Lives Matter, because this is how I respond. I don't say much, but I will say a lot in art. So what it means is that, like, what does everybody know? The Simpsons, right? Everyone knows the chief of police in The Simpsons. It's very neutral. I'm not going too hard, but it's like, look, we need to change something here. We're only human beings, right? So police, regular people, we're just humans. So what do we need to do? We need to learn how to address this a different way because it's not working. So like for police, you can't bash the police. They're still human beings. They're just human beings. They need to be taught a different way because how it's working. Maybe they need more training so they're not quick to jump. You know what I mean? Like, we're not here to just, because if we're just going to, fuck the police, fuck you, like, person acting to jumping in your car. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that needs to stop. Like, now is time. Now is the time. So it's like, what can we do? Like, they're in power. When they get pulled over, we get pulled over, they're in power. So it's like, people need to be like, look, they need to feel like, okay, cops go to more school, they learn how to de-escalate a situation, maybe maybe this person's a little crazy, maybe I shouldn't jump to it. Maybe they have a mental issue, like, they need to learn how to deal instead of jumping into it, you know what I mean? So maybe they need more training. So the Simpsons piece, everyone knows the Simpsons, everyone knows the police, he's in there writing sentences on the board because he needs to learn. So it's like very, very clear cut, Black Lives Matter on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm addressing the time right now. This is exactly what's going on right now, and that's how I respond. I don't respond, I'm not going to be talking, I ain't saying nothing. I'm just going to respond in art. You know what I mean? Because that's what I know best, right? But I posted it to my Instagram, the drawing, and it was skyrocketed. Everybody loved it. When they see this...
And I think the fact that we have a lot of talented artists here in Sacramento that just haven't been, you know, there hasn't been things that are like this for them to be able to participate here. So we do have a lot of really talented people, and they just, you know, having things like this really showcases that. And I don't think people that realize what's actually here, that live in Sacramento, realize that it runs really deep with a lot of talent that's here. So we wanted to be able to help promote that and show that we're both graph heads and really love the art in itself. So I know that the city ends up, they'll definitely buy a $9 million Coons, you know, but are they going to be supportive of graffiti art? You know, I see that it's starting to open up. I'd love to see it open up a lot more. It's something that is very much, it is society speaking, and it's something that needs to be able to have a space for it. And that's really, when it really comes down to it, that's what Graffiti for Good is trying to do. We're trying to build a space for a community. It doesn't matter which community, it can be in any one of them, but we're going to build spaces so that communities have the opportunity to come out and put what they have to think in an open forum, in a physical form. So not just a digital platform where somebody, you know, signs onto a website, but it's a space where free speech can happen, a space where we can have the people who are in that community come out and, you know, post what they have to say, even if it's something that not everyone agrees with. It's a free speech platform.
You know, I mean, like when I was in Barcelona, okay, so they'll come up to you, they'll look a little fine if they catch you, right, if you're doing something. But here, it's like people are scared to go to jail, you know what I mean? So it's like, even if they're just putting a stick, like, oh shit, like, they're afraid. But I have seen a lot of things stay up. So what that means is they're like, okay, like, they are easing up a little bit. They are easing up because I see things stay up in places that don't mean, it doesn't mean nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that's on the like light pole next to the railroad tracks. Who cares? And it's still there. So they're starting to be like, let's not make it a pretty utopia society where everything is nice and pristine. It doesn't exist. It's a waste of resources. They could give us that money so we can make murals on businesses. So we can have a fund. We're like, okay, like City of Sacramento, give us, you know, $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's make murals on all these buildings instead of having a force going out removing graffiti off of boxes in the middle of a cornfield. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Let people just paint. What's the problem?
I think they're changing tremendously, especially with Johnny and his wife and the sponsors that we have with putting up local art in the greater Sacramento area is really enhancing. The city itself, let alone giving an artist an opportunity to be able to express their work. Local artists get to participate in the inner city art that's going up, and I think that it's creating more opportunity for us and like me as an artist to come out to participate, to really express myself through art.
I definitely see a career path if you want to get into the arts here. You do get what you put into it, and you do get, I always kind of had the philosophy of, be friendly, be kind to everyone, because we're all in this together as a community. And if you have that mentality, and if you have a good work ethic, you're going to find opportunity and connections and network. Absolutely, if you have positive energy, people are attracted to it. So you do it. I mean, practice your skills too. I mean, I say after you're done making 1,000 paintings, make 1,000 more. And you're gonna, with those two things combined, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna find a career here.
It's definitely, you can definitely make a living in art in Sacramento, but I think a lot of it comes with the ability to pair your creativity, your art. So like pushing your art into graphic design or pushing your art into photography or video. I think having the creative eye is something that's always going to bring you work. I think it's a lot of how you reach out to the community. And it's a very open community, so I still feel like there's definitely an opportunity to make a living. I just think it's how you present yourself, and I think everything comes pretty naturally here. I come across the opportunities to do murals really like kind of through word of mouth. I do have like a practice wall, and I've always done graffiti, you know, in, like I mentioned before, in South Sac, there was a place that had like an open wall. So I'd like to go over there and kind of practice. And so when I post a lot of the work on Instagram, I tend to get recommended from there. And yeah, I think a lot of it's through word of mouth or social media.
You know what? Not sure. You know, kind of, you know, looking for the online market because that's kind of the way of the future. But don't have anything set up at the moment, but hoping to kind of gear up for that in, you know, 2021.
I go directly to the people in Sacramento. So just when I first did my first mural, which was in 2016, the first mural I ever did was in 2016 on Peace Market. And then I did a Buddha on the same market, and then the next one I did was Virgin Mary. I just went to Polly the barber, and I was like, hey man, because I heard him talking about he was going to paint the Virgin Mary. And then no one painted it, so I walked up to him and I was like, did anyone paint the Virgin Mary? And he was like, no. And I was like, meet me for coffee tomorrow. And then we talked, and then from there, just people started talking, and then they'll reach out to me, and then it just kind of skyrocketed from that. Really just like me dealing with Sacramento residents or Sacramento businesses directly. There's no organization that's ever provided. This is the first time I'm actually doing something under some kind of, and I have like 60 murals right now. So
I think when I teach art, I really just want youth to get more in touch with their inner dialogue. So art is about storytelling, and everybody has a story to tell. And so I think when I teach, I really want to focus on the content that they're talking about. So we have a lot of discussion, and I teach some basic techniques. So here's how to make a print, or here's how to build a portrait from an underpainting to a finished painting. But it's really more about what they have to say. Because I think even if you're not going to be a career artist, everybody can benefit from doing some more internal reflection.
Oh man, so this is another thing. At the Trade, this is why the Mona Lisa also is very special. At the Trade, Art Beast is next door. You know Art Beast? It's a children's art studio. It's the only one. It's like the only one in Sac. So every single day I'm out there having coffee. Kids are coming by, Mona Lisa, and they're like 3 years old. I don't even know how they know it. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm always out there. Like I'm giving prints away to little kids, like showing them, like hey, like giving them bracelets, like. You know, it was such a blessing to have them next door because, like, you see, they're so, just they don't know anything. It's like they don't want to paint. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, let's show them from an early age that art is everywhere. So they grow up and they're more open to things. When you're engaged with art, when you're, you become one with it and it's part of your daily life. Like kids in Barcelona, there's art everywhere. They grow up in it. They grow up their mind is more strong because they see all these different, what is art? Art is just the expression of the human being. So the more of it you see, the more you know about people. That's what I believe. And that's why I travel the world going to museums. Like I just came back from Italy. I was in Rome, Florence. I saw all the Renaissance paintings of like all of them. I learned from them because I'm understanding their mind. So I'm not just looking, oh, that's a beautiful picture. Oh, so beautiful. No. Like I need to learn. That's why my art can come anyway. I could strike with the Virgin Mary. I could strike with the Simpsons because I understand people. So the more art we see in Sacramento, the more we're going to understand each other, right? So, and that's why I'm out here doing what I'm doing. That's why I'm out there at 4 o'clock in the morning, chaining up "You Are Great" on a telephone pole.
I think, so teaching online and the whole COVID atmosphere has its pluses and minuses. I think the main downside is you can't be there to kind of guide their hand when they need it. A lot of my students are first-time artists or first-time in studio, so they really benefit from having somebody sometimes physically hold their hand and guide it, so you miss that connection. And I miss just being able to be in the presence of kids and the kind of organic conversations that they have in a classroom. But for the shyer kids who would usually be in the corner of the class, they're way more open to like sending me an email or sending me a photo. And me and the shy kids tend to have a more like direct connection online, which is interesting. So yeah, it has its ups and downs.
Right now in Sacramento during this COVID, I think the art's increasing. And I think that gives us an outlet and something to do and let us express ourselves and not be so stressed out in this time. It gives us a little release.
So a lot of it actually in the video that we're doing right now has been very helpful. And thank you both for participating in this and moving this along. A lot of it is video, especially with COVID. Right now, we're not seeing the public show up like they did in the years past when you threw an event and you had, 500 people show up. Now everyone's relatively and rightly so a little scared to come out. So it really is something that now lives on a digital platform and now lives on a it now is digital and within print. It has to be that way. So, and then also on the wall, so it stays back there, helps beautify the that alleyway right there. We've gotten a lot more community involvement. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we actually had someone from the community see that we were doing, and they came out on their own dime and on their own time and cleared out a bunch of bushes and just picked up a bunch of like loose gravel and all garbage and things of that sort. So, I mean, I think what it does is it ends up giving people a little bit more faith in their surroundings and shows them like, here's a space that was forgotten, and now it turns into, well, now it's something people are interested in and they actually want to keep and preserve. So I think that if nothing else, it benefits the area like that. So we want to be able to bring that to other neighborhoods and other places, not only in California, U.S. and international. December 1st will be the third one. We will be looking at 8 new artists. The work that you will see today is going to be gone. We will wash the wall. It will get buffed, and which is hurtful sometimes. You see the beautiful work that's up there right now, and to just go over it and it's gone. There's something that's hurtful, but yet beautiful about that process nonetheless.
I'm not really too much on any social media platforms too much. I do have an Instagram, which is without wax, Sincera. If you want to check out some of my stuff on there, I'd be happy to. You're more than happy to look at my page there. But other than that, just in and around the inner city stuff that I've already done is really where I'm exposed at.
You can find my art on my website, which is my name, jaredkonopitski.com. I'm also out there on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, also Jared Konopitski. On Instagram, Jared Konopitski. I think you can kind of figure out a theme. If you just Google Jared Konopitski, you're gonna find me.
If you want to find me on social media, you can look up Hermit Witch on Instagram, HERMIT.witch. That's my street art and painting Instagram. And then if you're interested in leather work of any kind, it's www.crafttachleather.com.
Alrighty, so if you want to get a hold of me, I'm on Instagram, so GLOB_CDS. And there's also Twitch, which is twitch.tv/glob_God. And so I stream at least 2 times a week, so if you definitely want to see some comic books or some street art style artwork, by all means drop on in and we can have a little session together online or something.
You can find me for commission work or just more of my work on Instagram. It's at Dr. Mike 122.
As far as social media, I'm on Instagram as King of Rain 2021. That's about it.
My Instagram is JM Knudsen, my last name, _artist. And then I have a website, jmknudsen.com. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where all my paintings and murals are on there.
I make dope, but don't call me dope boy. This ain't no kind of motion picture. I got your trigger, my homie get with ya and hit ya, taking that yak to the neck. So you better run a check.
We will be seeing 8 new artists this next time, and we'll have a new theme, and yeah, we will see. We'll see how that one progresses. We've got a couple artists that already on the roster. We don't really announce that until we have all 8 of them, lined up. But yeah, they'll be heavy hitters just like this time as well.